Hello, and welcome back to Xpwaste, where if you heard that intro music, you know what time of year it is. Hi, I'm Oxie.
And I'm Michael. This is your first time tuning into Xpwaste. We want to give you a big old welcome. Thanks for turning us on in your headphones or in your car or
Hey,
at your,
yo, turning me on in your car. Hey, yo.
This is my section, Oxy. Thank you.
You don't even know me like that. Hey,
If you want to, have us on the speakers at your, your bachelor party or your quinceañera, that's fine. We're here. We're Xpwaste. We're playing the speakers for all to hear, and we're a RuneScape podcast. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about things happening in the game. We're going to talk about what we like about the game, all the cool things about this game. The game. You lost the game for a fourth week in a row. If you're not new around here, welcome back. I just did the basic course of the worm thing, and I didn't mean to do that. So, did I say I'm Michael? I can't remember. I'm Michael.
I think you did. If not, the people know by now, surely.
That's me.
If not, the people surely know by now.
That's me. How are you, my fine co-host Oxie?
Man, I ain't too bad. I'll tell you what. I'm rune crafting, so obviously I could be better, but I'm not too bad. It's been a fun IRL week. I didn't fence it all this week. I just woke up on Monday and was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I don't know why I woke up on such a crusty mood on Monday, but I decided all right, calling an audible. I'm not doing anything this week, and I literally just came home every night. We took a week off from the show last week, so I was like, you know what, week off of everything, why not?
Nice.
And that's pretty much what I did. I didn't fence, I didn't go to the gym, but I had a lot of fun. I went to a trivia night. I went to a local bar that was as bitchin' as people said it was going to be for the first time. I went to karaoke at a barcade last night. I went to a fundraiser on Friday for my cousin's hockey team, which was fun. So I've been having a fun IRL week of stuff. In game, it's been a lot less fun. In game, I am currently sitting at 298k to 98 thieving because I wanted to get to 100k and then literally just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, I can't stand this skill. For months, everyone has been saying, dude, you got to go to the 95 world. You got to go to the 95 CC. The 95 CC is so chill. You got to go to the 95 CC. None of you motherfuckers, including my co-host, sent me a link to the Discord to get into the 95 CC. I did that shit in the public thieving host world, which overall, don't shake your head like you weren't a part of this, sir. Overall, as far as things that I didn't like, it could have been significantly worse. I could have been failing. But yeah, thieving, I thought thieving had moved up in my head of skills I don't mind training as much. It hasn't. It hasn't, because not only that, I was also going for DT2 and Wild Gothic Sleeps Rex on the main or on the iron. And when you fail Artie Knights, I was reminded why they're terrible. They're not terrible, but why I don't like them, I guess. So I've been doing a lot of thieving, and now that I'm on the cusp of thieving, I literally just have rune crafting left. And one of our buddies in the CC, Antics, is in the CC right now saying, let's go, Oxy, pick up the pace, because he's doing it a lot more smoothly and efficiently than I am. I haven't done ZMI probably since January of 2021. So we're here gaming. I don't know how the hell you're supposed to get 120k an hour with day alt. I'm probably going to get 60k an hour, which whatever, dude. It's fine. We are on track. We're doing it correctly. We're on track to having it be, what the hell? I'm dragging stuff all over my bank. I'm sorry. The XP per day tracker is exactly where I need it to be right now. And we just have to maintain that for the rest of the month of October, because it's currently September 29th. We are ahead of schedule, which means we have to work to stay ahead, because it's going to be an extraordinarily busy month for so many reasons, because now we're turning the heat on for bingo. and it's about to pick up. It's about to pick up quite a bit. But that's been my week. I've been doing things I don't want to do, which is skill. I cannot wait to spend, and I'll probably say it for a few more times. I'm gonna degen bingo. I'm gonna only do PVM. If it does not provide combat XP, somebody else is doing it. And then I'm just gonna take a nice break from this game. But we're almost there. I can see the finish line. It's gonna happen. It's just gonna be a slog. Other than that, though, that has been my week. Michael, how have you been?
I've been fantastic. Nothing to complain about, literally at all. I think there's only W's in the chat for me for the last 2 weeks. Besides the fact that we sprung a leak in my house, I had a slab leak. Like there was a pipe under my house that had a pinhole size hole in it, and it started leaking, and then it seeped up through the slab, and they ripped out a bunch of floors in my house, and there's like part of my wall is missing. That's not even getting me down at this point. It's all W's. The weather is beautiful. Like I've been outside more in the last 2 weeks since we've talked than I have almost the entire summer combined, because Texas is just unbearable. You don't go outside for any activity other than getting into your pre-started AC cooled down car. And then you get out of your AC car and you go into the AC house. That's the transition. So I've been outside. We've been going to the park with my son, and like middle of the day, 2 or 3 o'clock, my backyard is super shaded in like the perfect area. And so we've been going outside to play. And unfortunately, it's kind of like that transitionary weather where we can't swim unless it's a little bit hotter, or you work up a sweat and then it like the cold water actually feels good, but it's getting down into like the 60s at night, which is a huge difference from like it's still staying in the high 90s overnight during the summer. So all W's. Far as in RuneScape, I've made some significant gains, and then there were some drawbacks, and then we made some more gains. But I don't want to
He's
get
been gaining. Let
He's
me
been
tell you,
gaining.
he's been gaining.
Gaming and gaining. I don't want to like spoil too much, because most of what I've been doing to speak of has been stuff about Varlamore, and we will be talking a lot about Varlamore in this episode. So I think the most notable things are like I did a couple raids. I've been skilling a little bit. I still am kind of on track. I say kind of, and I'll explain it. I'm kind of still on track to get 2K total by the end of the year, but then I'm not. So one of the only goals that I have not completed for my 2024 goals list on my GIM is, I think it's I put it as like base 75s or base 80s or 2K total. And I think if I were to get base 80s, I would automatically be 2K total. So it's kind of a win-win there. But I think 2K total will be more achievable. But I say kind of because for me, once league starts, I'm pretty sure that's the end of the year. Because if I go and I play leagues like I played last year, I won't log into the main game until I've reached a goal, which usually for me, it's like I want to get Rune Cup. That's what I started doing with the last league, since they made like the points a static, just 40K across the board. You didn't need to do a moving goalpost of like stay in the top such and such percent. So it was a lot easier for me to like set that as a goal. So if it remains still where it's something that's super achievable for me, I will aim to play leagues until I get to Rune Cup. Now, I may get Dragon Cup, who knows? But I think at least for me, the goal is Rune Cup. So the end of the year is likely at the start of leagues, because leagues is going to go from like late mid to late November. Potentially, we don't have a date for it yet. Till I'm gonna assume 6 to 8 weeks, which is gonna put us 2025. I think the last
So
league.
desperately hope it gets pushed back. So desperately hope they say
But
it's
like,
the
why
first week
would
of
it?
December.
Why would it though? I don't.
I
Well,
don't know why it would. I just want
he just
to
wants
do
it to be.
I just want to play a video game.
Yeah, Oxie's gonna max. Then we're gonna have bingo. Then it's gonna be like 3 days off, and then we're gonna do leagues. It's kind of. I
And
think that's
then
the
starting in
timeline.
February, my RuneScape updates are gonna be it's still installed on my computer for at least a month.
Nice. Yeah, once leagues is over, there's gonna be nothing to start to say about RuneScape, which is fine. It's gonna be a long couple of months of grinding. But I mean, leagues is gonna be fun. But that being said, I'm 1942 total. So I would have to what? That's like 30, 38 levels left. Is that the math right there? 38? No, 48. 48 more levels until 2K. So that's quite a bit. If I look at what is it? 23 skills, 48 divided by 23. That's only 2 levels, actually. 2 levels in each of the skills. That's actually that might be doable. So,
Which is also it's not exactly 2 levels in each of the skills because you have 99 you have nine I'm
oh
filling my pouches. Damn.
right.
You have 99 mining, you have almost 99 hit points. So it's like
Let's do
you could
20
probably you
skills.
could probably spread them out a lot more for skills like fletching, crafting. I'm talking with main brain right now, but fletching, crafting, farming, hunter. You only have 69 rune crafting, which like is 69k to get to 70. Jesus Christ, I missed that level. I missed that threshold so much.
Level
But
69 and then
like
it's 69k. Oh, it's really
yeah, well
low.
like yeah, I was gonna say my next level up is gonna be 860,000 experience to get to 96 or some stupid shit like that. So like you have a lot that are just gonna come with time. Like you're almost to 91 defense. You could smash out 99 mage. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
80 agility would be cool.
There's certainly a lot of things like I could go to Wintertodd and get probably 7 to 10 levels fairly quickly. Like I don't think 90 fire making would be too hard. It'd probably be a few days of doing fire making at Wintertodd. But the thing is, I'm trying to wait until they update it. But they're dragging their feet, presumably dragging their feet with this like Wintertodd change and Guardians of the Rift change. That's why I haven't trained runecrafting or fire making when I probably should be trying to wait for those quality of life changes to come out. But yeah, 2 to 3 levels, potentially more in other skills. It could happen, but I would just be on a skilling spree, which is not bad. But I'm a raider now. I'm a PVMer, and I kind of have to keep up that look, Like somebody says, "Hey, I've scouted a raid. I gotta go. I gotta go." So
He's being called home by the skilling
I
grinds.
am. Uh, in other news, I think by the time this episode comes out, I'll have gotten my quest cape. So I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to kind of leave that celebration for next episode to actually go through and talk about how it happened. But I have Desert Treasure 2 and A Monk's Friend as my last 2 quests. Desert Treasure 2 being the biggest one, and then I'll just end it off, get my quest cape. I'll have A Monk's Friend done after that. So I say potentially because from now until recording, there's like 3 or 4 days, and I want to stream it, I think, and it's going to take several hours. So I just have to figure out if my schedule this week is going to allow me to spend those potentially 4 to 6 hours doing the quest. I can't promise that I will like be reading the dialogue. Most likely I'll just quest helper spacebar the quest because I've already read through everything, but I don't know how the boss fights are going to go. I think I may be looking at this from like a truly mid-game Iron Man standpoint, but it's it's doable on a mid-game Ironman with the gear that I have. So most of it I think is going to be fairly easy because the quest versions are easier. It's just going to be a matter of getting there and attempting it. So I'm not too worried about it as far as can I complete it? Can I get these KCs of the 4 quest bosses? I'm more so worried about the later parts in the quest. And I don't want to spoil anything. I know Desert Treasure 2 has been out for a while, but there are still people who are working towards our Questcape who I'm not going to spoil anything, but some of the harder stuff does come later. And I struggled with that part on my main. Now, that was me doing it without any knowledge of the mechanics or what to do without a quest guide. So it could be easier being more prepared. We'll see. But Questcape, most likely by the time this episode comes out. So if you caught that stream, that was fun, and we'll talk about it more next week. But that's been my journey as far as what we've done or what I've done since the last time that we talked. But I guess with a record setting 15 to 18 minutes in the episode, do you want to get into main title content?
Sure. As I'm sure you guys are aware, Varlamore Part 2 came out this past week.
Hell yeah.
And Michael was able to interact with pretty much all of it.
Yeah, I think every single piece, like I'm doing the worm agility course now. I started it this morning. And yeah, pretty much every single piece of content. My disclaimer that I was going to say is take a shot every time Oxie says, I didn't do this before it was changed. Because we're going to talk about changes. Because there's a new strategy that Jagex has when releasing content, and we'll get
which
into
we are
that.
going to discuss because it pisses me off a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean,
I don't like it.
We could
I don't like it.
Get that out of the way, I guess. So Varlamore released last week, and there was quite a few things that the community, gave their feedback on. The 2 biggest ones were Huey Kotal's drop table, and also the new Mixology Herblore minigame being a little imbalanced when it came to the cost of the rewards and the rate at which you get them. And then there's also the rewards themselves being controversial to some people. So I'm gonna pull up this news post because they kind of explained their thought process. So yeah, they said with Varlamore, the Rising Darkness, so we wanted to avoid the abuse early and often situation we've seen in the past with past releases. So we're rather reserved in our balancing approach, allowing us room to improve specific areas as we felt confident. We'd much rather come back with further rounds of changes than do too much all at once and overcorrect in the opposite direction. So this is in response to them fixing, the drop table, the XP rates for the worm course. The day that this episode comes out, there have been a lot of changes that they released yesterday in yesterday's game update, and this was all stuff that was in response to community feedback of like, why are we getting Guam seeds from Huey? In terms of balancing, just feels bad. Like nobody uses Guam seeds. I don't think. Like the lowest tier herb for farming. When other than birdhouse runs, would we be using them? I don't think so. So there's a lot of balancing that has happened, and in this approach, it's a lot different than what we've seen in the past. When new content comes into the game, generally we see an approach where the drop tables are way too OP. There's certain things where people get an advantage if they do it early, day 1 of release. There's certain mechanics that they have to like come back and change and walk them back, or they have to nerf certain things. That's been the approach in the past, but the approach with this release has been almost the exact opposite. It's like we want to make things kind of shitty and feel like pretty disappointing. I don't know if that's not their aim, obviously. They don't want to make things feel bad. But having a pretty lackluster drop table and then coming back and getting data and getting feedback, then they go ahead and change it to where something that feels a bit more acceptable. That's a way different approach. And I don't know which one I like. Because in both situations, to me, it kind of feels bad. Like if you,
Yep.
it feels bad if you didn't get there early to abuse early and often, and you get the crazy drops and you get the crazy loot and you make millions per hour and then it gets walked back. Or you were really excited about the content and you woke up super early, you killed the boss and you got a Guam seed. So I don't know. I think in both situations for me, it just kind of feels bad. And I'm very confused how we can't just have like a perfected drop table day one when there's so many like content releases in the past that they could look at to say, yeah, I think like rune items, these seeds, stuff that they released is fine for Huey. I'm talking specifically for Huey. The drop table that they have now is fine. I just don't I don't understand how that couldn't have been the forethought of like, yeah, we probably shouldn't put Guam seeds on the drop table.
So here's my thing about that, right? It's twofold, right? There are two parties to blame for these drop tables and all of this shit. Number one, I don't know what the hell the J mods are doing. I don't know what has been the obsession in the last couple of years with you don't get a drop, you get a piece of a drop. You don't get a drop, you get an invisible drop. You don't get a drop, you get 1/5 of a shard. I think the only piece of content that has come out in the last 3 years that has just dropped as fucking is TOA. Am I not mistaken? I think TOA is the only major bossing release that has come out that has just given you a reward. And even then, half of the rewards still need to be combined with something else to be fully utilized, right? Just fucking give us an item. Give us something worth making money. I know you could argue the Dragon Hunter wand is one of them. I've heard the Dragon Hunter wand is comically shitty. It's a mid-game boss. Cool. What mid-gamers are going to use the wand? I don't know. I'm not engaged enough with the wand to bitch about it. I'm just saying, like, probably the most notable drop, the Huecotal armor, the best in slot range prayer armor, that's actually probably going to be pretty useful in a lot of circumstances. Guess how it drops, Michael?
In singular
You gotta
pieces.
collect the fucking hide.
Yeah.
You have to collect the hide and then craft it somehow. It's like, what the hell? This idea that, like, oh, we can't get a drop table perfect, which I will concede, right? There is no way to get a drop table perfect. I see a bunch of people typing in the recording booth chat, and frankly, I'm on a roll, so I'm just going to ignore it for right now. I know there's no way to get a drop table perfect, right? There's always going to be troll drops. There's always going to be, damn, this boss drops a lot of money, or damn, this boss really doesn't drop that much money, right? I understand that, but how many bosses have you guys as a team released? You don't know the happy medium. You can't look at the rest of the bosses and, like, you guys don't have like a running list of what drops per boss per hour money wise. You guys don't have a log of like the amount of bosses that drop this item that you can reference when looking to make a new drop table. And if you guys don't, the wiki sure as hell does. Right? The recording, it's just people are flooding in with responses. And again, I'm just eyes on the camera, not looking at any of them. So I don't like to criticize the JMod team because they do a lot of great work that I know that I, for a fact, could not accomplish. But for the love of God, man, can we just get content that feels complete on day of release when it comes to drop tables? It doesn't have to be constantly nerfed or buffed. You know, the content release is fine. I did a couple Huecotal kills. It's a good boss fight. It's a mid-level boss. It fits in pretty well. It's not super punishing. It'll smack you around a bit, but like end of the day, it's a mid-game boss. Like, yeah, play Kotal's fine. A Mixology, cool new addition, seems fine. Sure. I only killed the quest version because I didn't really have time to do much else. But yeah. The other piece of this drop table issue, right? In addition to like all of these wacky methods of like you want anything remotely expensive, you have to get invisible drops, or you have to get 6 of them, or you have to combine it with something from a totally different boss. Jesus Christ, it's exhausting, right? That in addition to this, you know, I'll touch on their new philosophy here in a second, but the other group of people that is fucking up drop tables for everybody is us as a player base.
Mm.
When are we as a player base going to accept the fact that something is going to come out that is more money per hour than next? When are we going to accept the fact that Vorkath, Zulrah, and now Muspa are not the money bosses anymore? That we can get new content with new drops, right? There are a handful of items in the game that are always going to hold consistent value. Alchable items will always hold their value because of, shockingly enough, their high alch value. Look at any piece of rune armor, the GE value is at about the high alch value. It fluctuates by maybe a couple hundred GP, maybe 1,000 or so, but not much, right? Same thing with dragon items, same thing with adamant items. These alchable money items are fine to put on drop tables. Just vary the amount that you get, right? People complain about supplies, they complain about botting. At some point, we as a community need to be happy with the drop tables that come out, right? The day one Muspa drop table was fantastic. So nice. Because it dropped things that had consistent value, right? And then they nerfed it and they dropped everything else off, right? This idea that every drop table needs to be so deeply scrutinized and adjusted and nitpicked by every single person, including Michael and I, is exhausting, you guys. Like, sweet Jesus. We just have to at some point be okay with a drop table. I don't know what we want. I think we need to decide what we want, right? Because we can sit here and complain about Huey not being good enough or being too good, or how why are the drops invisible? Why are Desert Treasure 2 bosses dropping bronze items? Like why is this a thing? But we kind of got to lock in what we want, because this is just going to keep happening, right? On their newfound philosophy of let's undertune everything and then adjust it later as it goes, stop it. Don't do that again. Don't do that. I know you want to avoid abuse early and abuse often, but stop it, because you have the opposite effect when that happens, right? If you get us used to this idea that like, oh, they're just going to buff it later, new releases no longer are exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
I was at work when Varlamore Part 2 came out, and everything I heard while in my office was like, dude, this fucking sucks. Like, the quests are good, but the minigame is whack. The boss doesn't drop anything good. There's a new boss, that's cool, but like, you know, what are we supposed to do with this? This is whack, right? Don't make it so that we are no longer excited for new content releases, because I bet you've dug yourself into a hole now with Varlamore Part 3. Where if it's undertuned, people are going to go, yeah, we don't care. Stories are going to be great. Quests are going to be great. I'm sure the boss mechanics are going to be great. You could have great mechanics in the world. If it doesn't feel rewarding to do, if a minigame doesn't feel rewarding, people aren't going to want to do it. Right? So, the RuneScape player in you needs to come out when developing this kind of thing. I know it sounds super, super critical for someone who's not involved in the process. I understand that. But the idea that we're going to make everything less impressive and then make it more impressive as it goes, that's how games die, right? Using more real world examples, Halo Infinite came out without a fucking 4v4 Slayer game. Came out without a basic Slayer playlist. Oh, don't worry, we'll add it later. There's like 2,000 concurrent players on Halo Infinite right now, right? As an example of this undertuning, will do it later, it feels incomplete ass type release, right? Stop doing that. Stop doing that. I don't want to say it's better to overtune, but like, abuse early and abuse often feels. Uh, I don't know, Michael. Give me your thoughts on this. Does it feel better to know that? Does it feel better to know that because you were at work, you missed out on 9 hours of really good XP per hour? Does it feel really good to know that because they hot fixed it later in the day that like that something really good was available that you didn't get to? Does that feel better than I've heard this sucks. I'm just not gonna do it until they make it better.
Yeah, that one, the first one feels fine to me because at least if you didn't get to the content before it was changed, the change is still decent in from my experience. Like if the drop table was pretty cracked the first like 12 hours and like say you couldn't get it to it till the weekend, hopefully by the time the weekend rolls around, it's still in a decent spot and you're going to have fun doing it and it's going to make sense. We're talking in general terms without so much like speaking directly to what the Huey drop table was because that was fixed pretty quickly. I think it was within a day, maybe two. And yeah, like the fact that you could check Discord or read Reddit or Twitter or whatever, however you interact with the community and see people doing pieces of content and it just feeling bad, like that doesn't make me want to log in and do it. It just feels like, well, why am I doing this now when I could be doing other things in the game and just wait for whatever fix they've planned and promised to do.
Mhm.
So yeah, the first one definitely feels better. If I had to pick, ideally I wouldn't want either of them. I would just ask that content comes out with, balancing in mind. Because like at the end of the day, the developers of this game are very competent. They're very good at what they do. And it just feels kind of odd to me. And that's why we're having this discussion of like it even bringing this up because it feels like you could have looked at a mid game boss and understood that the drops were not in line with what is kind of the norm. Um, there's going to be so many different opinions of people being like, yeah, well, you're not doing this boss to make money. You're not going to make money until you get a unique. But I don't think that's a good way to look at it either, because a lot of what this game revolves around is if you're a main, you're doing things to make money. And if you're an Iron Man, you're doing things to, yes, make money, but sometimes it's about the supplies. It's about usable items that you could have for your account. So if you are going to put seeds on a drop table, why give people the Guam seeds? Why specifically the shittiest seed of all time? Why not? Like what they did now is I think there's lantidimes and one other one. And that's fine. Those are herbs that we plant that people can use for training. People use the herbs that grow for the new mini game. Like those are things that I'm thinking about. Like you have a new herblore mini game. You're encouraging people to like engage with that. So yes, Guam seeds could be used in that mini game, but they're also the shittiest one that gives you like the mox paste too. So there's just some things that didn't make sense. Not that I don't look at it and be like, that's terrible. I'm not gonna do it. Like I was still killing Huey, but for all of the effort that went into those kills, like using my prayer potions, using the food, spending the time doing it, it didn't feel like it was worth it at the time. Knowing that like there was so much feedback that was being given, like they would probably update it, and they did, which was great. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of controversy with how this week kind of went down. If it was just one thing, like if all of the content was tuned perfectly, and it was just maybe like, oh, the rewards from Mixology were kind of off, or it was just the drop table, I don't think that there would have been much negative discussion, but it kind of stacked up to where they had to address it and they had to make an entire blog post about it. Normally,
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't think some things being on loot tables are bad. Like Pure Essence from Chambers feels like shit. Mahogany Seeds from Theater of Blood feels like shit. But like, I can't think of a boss that doesn't have a shitty drop in there. You know, how many times do you get like flax and shit from Zulrah? You know, that's always how it's been with like one or two bad drops. Why I call the community out entirely is because, you know, oh well, we want it to be a perfect drop table. What the fuck does a perfect drop table look like? What's a
Mm,
perfect drop table? Somebody explain to me what a perfect drop table is, right? I think in line with what I enjoy as a drop table quite a bit, if I had to like put my finger on what a quote unquote perfect drop table is, Vorkath has a very nice drop table. Vorkath is a consistently rewarding boss to kill. I understand people may not like Vorkath, but I think it has enough spread of A, always drops something consistently worth money with the Vorkath bones, right? Always drops something that could be useful for Iron Man with Blue Dragonhide. It has a couple of expensive tertiary drops. That's really not what you're there for. It has some bits of skilling supplies. Like I think Vorkath drops grapes, no?
yeah, Vorkat does drop
I
grapes.
think. But then in the interim, Vorkath has a good chunk of alkables that give you money. Vorkath is worth a decent amount of money. Zulrah, I also think is especially now that scales are back up in price. If you're a main account, scales are like 250 right now. Like scales are pretty expensive because they're nuking bots and all the prices of everything is going up, right? Zulrah has a decent drop table where you get a lot of things that are worth enough money or are useful enough as supply items as an Iron Man without like oversaturating the market. And I understand botting plays a part in it. You know, I understand like these bosses aren't always accessible for everyone 24/7. Mr. Curtains brought up a really good point. And he says mid-game players need guaranteed profit since it feels bad to spend money and it feels bad to spend money on the item without having anything guaranteed. I don't know if that's entirely true. Um, he brings up the point of Perilous Moons, which I like. I think Perilous Moons is a good example of it. I think if every boss worked like Perilous Moons, people would get annoyed really fast. Um, because I don't know about you, Michael. Maybe it's because it's not in my level bracket on either one of my accounts. Like I think I'm too low on the iron, and I think I'm too high on the main. Perilous Moons doesn't feel super fun to just stay in forever. I don't know why. I haven't been able to explain it. Maybe it's because like Perilous Moons goes by the you don't make any money unless you get a drop philosophy, which again isn't the worst thing in the world. You just need to be careful how you play it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's if you guys can think of a perfect drop table that every single boss in the game should be able to emulate, sure, go for it. I think in a lot of ways, the variants in drop tables keep the game fresh and keep the game fun. And I think having every boss not be at the same money per hour um is good, you know, kind of build up that ladder a bit. Like I know I don't want to sound like I'm jumping back and forth here, but like I don't know. I feel like there just needs if you're going to I guess if you're going to implement something along the lines of like you have to get 5 Venator shards to make the new Venator bow, right? We need to have other things on the drop table that are worth getting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Muspa does an okay job of that. It did a really good job that first day. God damn, Muspa was real nice that first day that it came out, right? But again, abuse early, abuse often. They had to get rid of that,
hmm
you know.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't know.
So
I just think we're going in circles on drop tables.
yeah, well, let's do a 180. Talking about a drop table specifically for Varlamore that was perfect and is perfect and should not change. The Amoxolotls drop table, I know you haven't done it post quest. I would say it is in a perfect spot. The content, the boss itself, is very engaging. The mechanics are difficult, but not like terribly Like it's not super challenging, but it is engaging, is what I'm trying to say. And it drops runes, it drops ore, and I think it drops alkables. Now, if we want to get into the argument that skilling supplies and stuff shouldn't come from bossing, that's a different conversation. But when you look at a drop table for a mid game boss, that makes sense. I think they did really, really well with the Amoxolotls drop table. And the fact that the unique that comes from there is potentially useful. I haven't used it, or I haven't gotten it as a drop to be able to test it out. But the necklace that you get is fairly common. I think Mima said it was like a 1 in 25. So the situation we look at with Huey is almost a direct opposite as what you see with the Amoxolotl. And to me, having interacted with most of the content, that's I think where the confusion comes from. It's not the fact that, oh, this content is bad, Huey is bad. It's just like there's a stark difference coming from the same content area release. Everything came out on the same day. You look at a Moxolotls drop table and it's perfect, and it wasn't the hyped up boss. I didn't even know it was a thing. Like there's just a
which was a pretty cool
yeah.
surprise. To put a repeatable boss in under everybody's noses is a pretty cool
Yeah.
surprise. And I think one thing that is important for us to kind of get out there now, because we're in a bit of a shitting spree. Varlamore Part 2 is, for the most part, a good update.
Yeah. I do like
Right.
it.
I have some notable issues with Mixology, but I think that's just because I don't like it. Um, but that said, Varlamore itself is it's continuing to be a good expansion,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think in terms of overall content, overall release, I give it an A plus, whatever. It's great. The the time and effort that they have put into Varlamore this year has been absolutely fantastic. There is not enough negative that has happened since March when it first released for me to say you guys dropped the ball. Like they absolutely did not drop the ball on Varlamore as a whole. I can't wait till part 3 till we finally have everything that Varlamore has to offer, because in terms of content, this is one of the best releases that they've done expanding an area. If you look at how Korend was launched, I think that they learned so much from that, and they've taken that like the feeling of exploration, the the usefulness of each and every square inch of the map, the content that they add, the quests that they release, the story that's being built, all 5 of those things just like build to be such a great release. I don't want to shit on this entire thing, but like we like that is the biggest thing that has happened this week as far as like the content release and then the controversy, kind of a mixture of both. Um if we had done the show day 1, kind of would have been disappointing, but like within about 24 to 48 hours everything was fixed. So to not harp on the bad parts of it, yes, Varlamore Part 2 has been amazing. If you're
We'll
in,
get into some of the more positives, I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
We'll cap it off with positives because I'm sure we're gonna get pissed off about more things. But yes, the TLDR, just to bring it up now, Varlamore Part 2, good. What are your thoughts on Mixology?
I like it. I think that in terms of like using the herbs that as an Iron Man, I'm not going to be making into potions, or I don't want to collect the secondaries for. I think it has a lot of room to grow. Um, I was saying this when I streamed on Wednesday last week that there are a lot of things about the mixology that I think could be improved. One of which was like, this needs a plugin. I think that in terms of just a vanilla release, it really was like kind of lacking in terms of of it being super intuitive. But
Really?
I felt low. I felt like that. Like I had a screenshot of the recipes book open on another screen. So like if I was playing on my iPad or I didn't have RuneLight, there would be certain things where I'd be like very frustrated with having to memorize all of the different recipes and which one is concentrated versus this and this. So I'm having a plugin, I think, has made that mini game a lot better. So
Okay. I'm seeing in the recording booth chat that apparently the recipes are phonetic, which I did not know, but like that's
oh really?
mix a lot MAL is all three different kinds. All right. That right there,
Oh.
that's pretty fucking good. That's a good mechanic. But I'll say this, right? I don't entirely agree that it needs a plugin. And frankly, to get the good of mixology out there on the table, mechanically, good minigame. You know, mechanically, it seems fine. I don't think it needs a plugin, and I think they designed it to not need a plugin because all of it's pretty straightforward, especially now knowing they're phonetic. Can you name another piece of content in the game that you have to have something open in a different window to learn it, and then you don't ever need it again once you remember it?
No.
Zulra.
Well, yeah, I guess Zulra.
Zulra's
True.
rotations need to be memorized. But once you memorize them, it's like riding a bike, baby. You never forget them.
True.
And I think Mixology offers something very similar that once you get really good at making those potions, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You just posted what? There's 10 different potions, which our RuneScape brains have retained so much information about this damn game. In time, if you play the mini game enough, I don't think that's going to be an issue, right?
Yeah.
Only reason I think you could need a plugin, I don't even know.
Make it brain dead. I don't know. Like,
but I think it already is kind of brain dead. That's the thing. Like I don't think it.
Have you done it for
takes
more
a
than
lot.
5 minutes though? Because I did it for like 30 to 45 minutes, and I was like constantly looking back, having to see which recipe was which. There's
okay,
like,
but that's every new piece of content though. Every new piece of content is like learning how to do it. Again, Zulra. Zulra is brain dead once you learn how to do it. Zulra is a brain off, click on the same tiles I always click on boss, right? When you learn how to do it. It's new, right? That's why it feels like it's not brain dead because you're learning how to do it.
yeah.
Right? I have not mastered mixology. I made like maybe 20 potions and was like, all right, cool. I'm not doing this. I'm gonna go do something else. Because I have other gripes with mixology, but master mixologist, exactly. Yeah. I just don't know if a plugin is super warranted because I think they designed it without needing a plugin, which I think is cool. Mechanically, fun. It'll be easy enough to master. I do not think this minigame is good for Iron Men at all. This minigame is not good for Iron Men.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
I disagree because like I said, to start us off with mixology, there's a lot of herbs that you just don't have a good time using. There are herbs that are very special that you use for content that make good potions, but there's some that, like the secondaries, having to collect them yourself, super shitty. And if you could just turn those into paste and still get the XP for them without having to collect potato cactus, for instance, is one of them. It's like, I'm never going to use magic potions. So if I'm growing the herb, collecting the secondary, it's literally just for XP. So the time spent getting it for the potion just to sit in my bank, kind of a waste of time. So there are certain herbs that I think are amazing for this mini game, and as an Iron Man, should interact with it. If you want the rewards, do it. It's not going to be a detriment to your account if you have an excess of certain herbs that give you the pace that you need. If you want the rewards, I don't think that
my main issue comes from the lie. And I know Iron Men are out there going to go Avantoes and Corms, which, like, okay, sure. But you had to make lie the like big important one. You had to make lie the Raynar, Toadflax, and Snapdragon.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't spread that out anywhere else.
It's
on some of these
kind of the
higher tier
point.
herbs. Like,
Those
I don't
three,
know. I
those
just
are the
think
three I
for
won't
some
be
of,
using. The Lantidimes,
but
the
but for
Toadflax,
some
and
of
the
this,
Raynars. Or like the
but for some of
Snapdragon.
this, I looked at this and thought to myself, like, I ain't using that for mixology. I'm going to use that for another more important potion. Right? I'm not going to waste this on mixology. When I looked at it,
Right.
I understand. I'm not an Iron Man. I get it. I just think that a lot of the potions are better served other places. You know,
Right.
what are the secondaries for quarms and Aventos?
It's going to be
Mortmire fungus
Mortmire
and
fungus
limpwort
and
roots.
limps. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit is so easy to get. Especially now that Hoikodal drops 200 of it.
It's
Do you see that sync clip? Do you see that clip of sync? Dude, he killed Hoikodal and got 200 unnoted limpwort roots.
Unnoted?
It's actually had 200 unnoted limpwort
Ugh.
roots. It's actually pretty funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So I don't know. Like
doing this on my GIM, I just wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of doing it on my GIM. I think as a main, yeah, you just pump enough money into it. I think it's, again, mechanically sound. I think it's fine mechanically, but I don't know.
It's hard to explain it from a I wouldn't call myself an Iron Man. Like I've played an Iron Man pretty consistently for like the last year and a half.
The last several months
But
you have been calling yourself an Iron Man.
You gonna let me finish?
What do you mean?
I wouldn't call myself an Iron Man because I'm still pretty new to the game mode and still pretty in the mid game. I'm not even like I haven't interacted with a lot of what you would call Iron Man content. And I'm a group Iron. So there's a couple of factors that you have to consider when you get my opinion from an Iron Man. So to me, having super energies and super strength potions, not super important. You make enough of those, you probably won't have to go out of your way to make a lot more later. And the amount that you would end up using to green log this mixology, I don't think is going to be that big of a hit to your stack if you prepare. Like you could have 1,000 of each and probably green log with the lye paste. So
we have no idea to know if that's correct or not. We have no idea to know.
I don't know. They're going to be balancing it at the time of release of this episode. They've already reduced the cost of these things. So as an Iron Man, I think if you want the rewards, do it. It's still yet to be seen for me, at least in my experience. It's still yet to be seen if this is going to be any better for like long-term XP. Like if it's going to be worth spending all of your unused herbs or whatever. Like, is this going to be the new way to get 99? Because the only thing that I have as a reference is Giant's Foundry. And I think there's a pretty big subset of the community. It's like, I'm just doing Giant's Foundry to get the rewards to green log it. And then I'm going to go back to Blast Furnace. I'm going to pump money into like gold ore and just do it quickly. Versus, yes, it's better XP per bar, but I would rather just do it quickly. So, yeah, I don't know. Tiki said it was never supposed to be better XP per hour. I know, but what I'm saying is I don't know if it's worth spending the extra time for the reduced XP in a long-term sense.
That's
for the rewards.
That's
sure.
the trade-off you need to make, right?
Yeah.
Every player, you have to decide what is more important, the time invested or the money spent. Usually,
yeah,
I'm talking main brain, right? Is the time to do mahogany homes more worth it for you than the 170 mil, 200 mil it costs to do 99 construction?
Yeah,
right?
That was the other example.
For a lot of players, yeah, that's absolutely worth it to do mahogany homes. It's a lot slower, but it costs a hell of a lot less money.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
A player like myself, for example, I said, "Fuck it, I'm doing mahogany tables and amethyst darts." Right. It's gonna be expensive booty, but we're gonna get it done. You know.
But that's also you in a mindset of like wanting to max. Like if you were just going for 82, it's a lot different conversation of I just need to get to 82 and I'm never going to train this again. or I just need to get to whatever the diary requirement is, and I'm never going to do it again.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It matters what your goal is, what kind of determines what is more efficient for you to do or what you place more value into. We understand that like it's not gonna be the best XP per hour. Is there a mini game since Winter Todd that is the best XP per hour? Understanding that
I
Winter
don't think
Todd is
so.
also not technically the best XP per hour because you can sweat your balls off with that 2-tick redwood method at the GE or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah,
you do something
I don't
like
think there is a mini game now after Winter Todd that is going to be better than whatever the
yeah,
bank
like
standing method is.
we understand that. We're not blind to the idea that like that's not how that works. Tiki's comparing a mini game to buying gold ore, we understand that. I may not be an iron, but I know how the Iron Man game mode does work. That it takes a shitload of time to get these things. And if it takes me 200 raids to get enough paste from Theater of Blood and the seeds from TOA and the herbs from Chambers, right? If it takes me all that to get the paste, and then I have to spend an additional X amount of hours to get the XP I need for the level, at some point I'm going to sit and think to myself, is it quicker for me to just get the secondaries and get way better XP per hour? That's just where my head is at with it.
Mm, yeah.
I get it. I don't know.
I think maybe for like short bursts of goals, I could see myself doing the mixology. Like right now, theoretically I need what 85 or 86 to get the herblore requirement done for my diary cape. I'm at 83 right now. I could look and say I need this many herbs and this many secondaries to get 86. Or I look and say, I could just farm this many herbs, turn it into paste, and that could be how much, but it's going to take me X amount of more hours. I could see myself really weighing which method might be better. Because at the end of the day, like, it doesn't always have to be the most efficient method. And I think sometimes that's okay. If you're maxing or if you're trying to do it quickly, yes, just like pump out the most efficient method. But there is a benefit of having rewards that you could unlock for the mixology, and maybe that's something we explore later.
Yeah,
Because
I mean it's all down to that personal preference, like
yeah,
we said. I don't think this is something that's going to be useful on my Iron Man. I don't know. Again, I'm not as far along as other irons out there. You guys might have thousands of these herbs that you don't use. Cool. I don't think it's particularly useful um, for Iron Man. I'm sure. I'm not really. I don't have the room to train it on my main, unfortunately, because people are like, oh, are you saving 99 for mixology? I'm like, not quite. So that'll be a post max thing for me because again, gameplay seems fun. The elephant in the room for me is the rewards, right? And I'll take this one first so Michael can hopefully give a better spin after I do. I think the name Chugging Barrel kind of dumb. Like kind of funny,
hard agree.
kind of dumb.
Hard agree.
Kind of dumb. I think I've heard it both ways where like wow, Chugging Barrel is super cringe. And the other side of like pre-pot sounds like a nerd playing a video game, whereas Chugging Barrel seems like a very in universe appropriate thing. You are chugging potions from a barrel. So like yeah, it makes sense to call it that. And pre-pot device sounds like just a bunch of sweaty nerds doing it wherever. Seems like way too much time. Seems like way too much time spent to save a couple of ticks. I think we were doing a learner event the other day, a big raid learner event, and somebody said like, "Yeah, dude, you if you use the pre-pot device, you can get one extra tob in every 3 weeks because that's how many ticks you save from doing it." It's like this, like, what's the point? Like it doesn't take that long to pre-pot as it is. So why are we putting in this kind of effort, I guess, to get this device, right? Which again is at the time of recording horribly unbalanced to buy. Oh my god. I went in the reward shop yesterday. I went, what the hell is all this? So thankfully, it's been nerfed by the time this episode comes out, or has been reduced. I'm
Yeah,
sure they might look at it
16%
later.
less. 16% less materials.
Okay. Okay, cool. It just seems like a long investment for not a lot of time. You want to talk about time investment that doesn't pay out, right?
It was
seems like
never
it's
about the time,
the
Spider-Man. It was. I don't think
it's
that the
literally
pre-pot.
about the time.
I don't think
The
it's about
point
the
of the
time.
pre-pot device.
I think it's about convenience. I don't think it's about like, and I let you finish, but like, I don't think it's about breaking down how many ticks you save versus how long it takes to get it. I think it's literally just about convenience. The convenience of pressing one button, having all of your potions applied at once. There's a couple ways you can look at it. And I look at it as the convenience factor of this is the loadout that you have, you press a button and it does it. Versus
it seems
hyper focusing
way more
on I'm saving
inconvenient.
16 ticks, but it takes me 46 hours to get it. Like, it's
But
always going to be
but that's the point, right?
vastly.
Like the convenience, where does the convenience lie, right? I'm not going to spend 300 mil to save 6 ticks. That's not convenient for me. I'm not going to do this for 40 hours to reduce my amount of clicking by 3, right? Like I am, and the thing is, what I either don't understand about this or don't think is a smart decision. What about food? What about anglers? What about sharks? What about impute hearts? Can you do that with a pre-pot device? So at the end of the day, you're still clicking all of this shit in your inventory. And I imagine it has an animation to it that probably can't be interrupted, you know? So like I don't know. It just it doesn't seem like where I would personally want the pre-pot device to be, because it doesn't interest me to use. Also, when it came out and I heard that it can't be used at the Theater of Blood, I thought, what is the fucking point of this item?
It can
That
now,
was
though.
the funniest. I think it can now, but I think somebody mentioned that like because the Tob bank is coded to get random events, that's one of the reasons why it couldn't work.
Oh, weird.
Uh, Nuke Moose said I'd be shoving lobsters into the Chunga Bunga barrel. Good God. It could be pretty funny, you know, like drink a liquid lobster. I don't know where I'm going with that. I suppose that's just lobster bisque, which would fit in. Never mind. Okay. I'm getting off track. I think, and this is going to be a bit of a tinfoil hat conspiracy. A tinfoil hat conspiracy. Tiki says spend an extra 20 hours to get the smoothie attachment. You guys are monsters. The potion storage is a way for them to begin phasing out Runelight because of where they placed it.
Yeah, but
and
like
what it was like.
you can still have your Runelight plugin. Go with your tin hat theory because I can debunk it. Just go with whatever your theory
So
is.
where they placed the potion storage is awkwardly on the left-hand side of your bank, which if the keen-eyed player will know gets in the way of bank tags. Your bank tag layouts that you use for literally everything, it gets in the way of that. And this is why I think it's a little sus. The JMods know that. They play the damn game. They know where the bank tab layouts go. They all use Runelight. Why would you put it right there if not to begin the lead out of Runelight over time, right? Because here's my other question. Is there another bank that we use that's attached to a bank that functions pretty well? It's a Group Iron Man bank. Why could we not copy the Group Iron Man layout, put it on another side of the bank that just says potion storage up there at the top, and you can access it from there? I don't understand. It's even less load time because you don't have to load this cloud storage of a bank. It's almost just like another cubby you put shit in. I feel like the placement was awkward, and I don't know. Someone's like, "Oh, just move the bank tabs to the other side of the bank when it comes out. When they phase out Runelight, it'll be fine." I'm like, okay, dumb, don't like it. Bad logic, don't like it. Also, the potion storage has had some of the funniest errors in the last week that I have also asked, why did they put this in the fucking game? Because did you see how people were like, if you banked all your items with the potion storage up, it would just drop your shit on the floor?
Mhm.
Which again, that's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty funny. Um, but like, we have an extra banking system. Why did we not use that as a foundation? I feel like, just like I said when we were talking about the Mixology blog, this seems like too many extra steps. Oh, my bank space. If only there were a way to spend money to buy more bank space. I don't know, man. It's this is the kind of shit from Mixology that, just like I talked about months ago when we first read this blog and I was in a bad mood about it, I still don't think they're I don't want to use the term welcome, but like, I don't think they are as beneficial additions to the game as people are making it out to be for these Mixology rewards. Again, I gotta say it. The mechanics of the mini game, not too bad. Really not too bad. But I don't the rewards are a little stinky stonky for me. And how you get the rewards is a little stinky stonky for me. I don't know.
Well, luckily you don't have to interact with it. It's very optional. You don't have to have
Oh,
potion
easy there.
storage.
Easy there, manked. I don't need that shit.
But
But I
that's
know
the
what you
reality.
mean.
Is like you don't need potion storage for for anything in the game. It's just an added benefit if you want to spend the time or the money. Is it tradable? One of them is tradable, and I can't
The
remember.
store, the pre-pot, the chug jug is
The chug jug
tradable.
is okay.
The fucking the potion storage is not.
Potion storage, you could either spend your time and effort getting that, or like Oxy said, if you want to buy more bank space, you can do that as well. Because I do think that they're number one. I think the potion storage for my account would be very useful. It would free up like 50 spots. And I don't know how much money I would need to spend to get 50 extra spots, but it would be quite a bit of money, I think, for my Iron Man account that I don't have. And on my main, like, sure, I'll just chalk up the 50 mil or whatever it is, get the extra 50 spots. I don't think on the main account for me, I'm going to be spending that. But I think the time and the effort to get it wouldn't be too bad. There's there's a lot of I think there's a lot that you can do with the potion storage that makes it really cool. If we're talking about benefits, like you can they actually just updated it to where I think if your main bank is open, potions do automatically go into the potion storage. Whereas before, I think on launch, you had to open the potion storage and put them in there. So that actually was my only hesitation with the actual update was it kind of feels weird that if your bank is open, your potions still go in the bank. You have to do an extra step of opening the potion storage to deposit your potions. But that was fixed. I'm fairly positive that was fixed. So
Yeah, I know
that
they
was my
have made
only.
changes to it. I know they've made changes to it. I don't know, man.
So
I hate to be a boomer scaper, but like,
do you hate it?
what do you mean?
You said you hate to be a boomer scaper, but I mean, it's not like there's not that much that is terrible about it. To address your point about the bank tags thing, not everybody uses bank tags. It's a very convenient RuneLite plugin, but it's not one that comes standard. I don't think. I think it's one that you have to download and install yourself. And the other one, if you do have bank tags, the creator of the bank tags plugin could literally just move up where the bottom of that plugin stops, and it would address and fix all of the issues. And I
bank
think
tags are vanilla RuneLite. Bank tag layouts are not.
oh, okay.
So you know how like the tags themselves are vanilla, but when you can move everything around freely and organize
Gotcha.
it how you like, that is not vanilla.
Gotcha. So I guess it doesn't feel like it's vanilla because you have to add them and then they start to populate on the left side versus it's empty to begin with. But yeah, you could just make the bottom of where that plugin stops, where all of your icons start to scroll. You could just move that up a little bit and then you're fine. But I don't think that the developers of RuneScape, old school RuneScape, are developing their like updates on a RuneLite plugin or on a RuneLite client. They're developing them on a vanilla client where they
Obviously,
don't
they're
have
not
bank
doing it.
tags. So then
Obviously not, but again, it just feels like if we're keeping it consistent, why not put it at the top where you put group storage?
I don't know.
That's my question. Why not put it at the top where you put group storage? This doesn't even become an issue because, yeah, I know they don't make it on RuneLite. I'm not that naive to think they plan this game on RuneLite. I am thinking as RuneScape players though, who develop the game, they play on RuneLite, right? Like, surely they play on RuneLite and they use bank tags and they do all that shit. So, like, why would you put it right there, big dog? You know, it's like you know that somebody else parks there. And you just had to put a light post right there. Why? When there's lots of other spots you could have put a light
Where
post.
you're saying put it up at the top left where group storage is, or just at the top in
So,
general?
at the top in general. So if you look at your chat box right now, if you look at the bottom of your chat box, you have all those little stones there.
Mm-hmm.
Right between clan and report for you says group. For me, it says trade.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think if you were able to do something similar where you just sort of switch it out or add it next to it, right? Like maybe put potion storage next to where group storage is if you're a group Iron Man, or put potion storage where that group bank option is if you're a main account who's not going to have access to group storage, or you're just a regular Iron who's not going to have access to group storage.
Yeah.
I just feel like that would be objectively a better spot to put it.
Yeah.
Apparently, I am not I'm not in the majority.
I don't think you're in the majority. Seth says,
like I said,
as a developer,
it's a tinfoil hat theory. I get it.
Yeah. Seth says, as a developer, I don't think they're not going to change their development to fit third-party stuff. In all honesty, it isn't really their issue to think about where third-party add-ons would fall. And I agree. I hard agree.
I get it.
I
get it. But to Tiki's point earlier, or to somebody's point earlier, I don't know if it was Tiki's or whoever. Bank tags is probably going to make it into the official client.
Probably. And they'll probably do it a lot better. They'll do it in a way that makes a lot more sense. It'll be... They always do. Like, whenever Jagex can make a plugin or a feature fit into their game, it's always going to be better. Versus, like, shoehorning something in. I don't know.
But they're pulling them from the developers. Like, clan events and quest helper and door kicker. Those are directly from the developers that are making it, from what we saw at the summit. So if you're taking the bank tags plugin from vanilla RuneLite as is and bringing it over to the main client for the plugin API on the main client, what the fuck are we supposed to do about that? I don't know. I just think the placement was bad. I get it. They shouldn't have, they shouldn't have planned for third party. That's fine. Whatever. I'll concede that argument. I just think it's like, it's gonna sound really mean. Use the logical brain here. Use the part of the brain that understands that, like Nuke Moose said in our recording booth chat, RuneLite is the official client. Without RuneLite, if you take all the people who play on RuneLite and took it away, there's significantly less people playing this game. I'm just saying.
What else is there in Varlamore? Okay. So we did Huey.
A lot of other good things.
The quests.
A lot of
Did you get all the
good
quests done?
things. I did not get all of the quests done. I got Into Darkness. What's it called? Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
Is that the new one? I got Heart of Darkness done. Heart of Darkness is good. Heart of Darkness is good. Oh man, I can gush about the story a little bit. Surely, when you get to the Axolotl fight, and they're like, "Oh, we need this item," and they're like, "You mean the fucking rainforest?" And you're like, "Wait a minute, shit, that's a part 3 teaser." What? Have you been around? Have you been around seeing, exploring Varlamore at all? And the new parts?
Yeah.
There's did you run into the salvage people yet?
Yes.
Yeah, with that guy who's washed up on shore being like, "Oh, his face is the moon. I don't know what
Oh, I
his
didn't see
face
that
is the
guy.
moon."
I didn't see that
Yeah,
guy.
dude. It's like they're planting so much fun shit for Varlamore 3.
Yeah.
Um, and I think kind of like our prediction a couple weeks ago, where like this is gonna feel like a very Empire Strikes Back kind of a thing, where it's not the very first, so there's a little bit less wonder, and it's not the grand finale. But I think for the most part, they've knocked it out of the park with making a pretty good update.
Yeah. I like it.
I know I have sat here and bitched about
A
things,
little bit.
right? And I have bitched about things that I personally find annoying as far as the game is concerned. But I don't think Varlamore Part 2 is an annoying update at all.
Mm.
I think it's actually quite a bit of fun to engage with so far. The music on Alduin, before I played it, somebody was like, "Dude, the Alduin music is um the Alduin music is like Animal Crossing."
Oh.
And I was like, "Okay." And then sure enough, it actually kind of is, and I really like it. I really like it. Um I'm a big fan of that.
I was saying yesterday in your stream that Varlamore will 100% be my first unlock, my first area unlock for leagues. I don't think there's a question of what other area will be first because there is
Yeah.
so much to
Dude,
do and interact with, and I'm sure the tasks are gonna be bitchin', like so much to do.
and that's the beauty of Varlamore, right? They are releasing a region that is essentially like a sequel to Gielinor. Like Varlamore has everything, right? Varlamore so far has so many different stations. They added a new fermenting vat on Alduin. They added a fermenting thing for brewing, which they haven't done in forever. I saw like the wiki posted it on Twitter, and they're like, "There's now 50% more fermenting vats in the game because of it." Right? They added a new house portal, which was a hysterical bug that I hope they fix soon if they haven't fixed it already. If you don't know, if you don't know, they the Alduin house portal, they just replaced the Brimhaven house portal.
On the teleports.
People were teleporting to the Brimhaven house portal on their Maxcapes and ending up in Alduin like, what the fuck?
Where am I?
Where am I? So that's fun. Like I'm sure they'll fix that. That's like minor shit. I'm sure they'll fix that, no problem. The recording booth chat is posting hella spoilers about shit that I have not engaged with, so I'm just not even looking over there right now.
Uh-oh.
But I think there's a lot of fun stuff coming that's already come in Varlamore Part 2 that will be important in Part 3. I also did meet and greet, which I thought was fun. Um, I did meet and greet, and I knew you had to go into the Coliseum. That was spoiled for me because I was told in another Discord that, and I quote, "This Minotaur is somehow sexier than the one in the Coliseum." And I was like, okay, they were right. But that's neither here nor there. Because I went in and I went to go click on the bank, and it was like, "You haven't earned enough glory." I'm like, excuse me? I haven't earned enough glory? I said, "All right, I'm going in with what I have right now." And Michael's like, "You realize there's a bank outside you could run to, right?" I'm like, "What am I, some sort of peasant bitch? I'm not doing all that." So, with like 1.5 prayer pots, nothing but a whip, um, and just some like whatever other shit, like a couple of Karam wands, I made it to like wave 4 in the Coliseum, got enough glory for the bank, and was like, "All right, cool. I can do the rest of the quest." Michael's like, "You're ridiculous." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
I stand by
I know
that.
what I am.
Because the funny thing
But
is, you didn't know this, but you got to wave 4 with whatever supplies you had, which was way more than enough just to kill the one Minotaur. But now you have the
well, I
bank.
didn't know.
It's
Well, I had been
unlocked.
told like, "Oh, you're going into the Coliseum." I was like,
Yeah, but if you
because I had vaguely heard people be like, you know, "Oh, like this isn't like a regular Coliseum run." So I was like, all right, you're still gonna get the Fremenix, you're still gonna get the majors. I'm like, I guess I have to be somewhat prepared, and I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm good. And then I killed the boss in like a minute and a half.
Yeah, it was almost nothing. I don't know. Reading the quest dialogue, I didn't have any spoilers of like, wait, I'm going into the Coliseum just to do this silly little ad. You're in between waves, you're doing an ad. And I didn't know you had to fight it, so I died and I had to come back. Well, I didn't die, I tellied out, and I had to come back more prepared. But yeah, if you read the dialogue, it was like you're just gonna be doing one thing with one Minotaur. So maybe it was the fact that people were like hyping it up too much for Coliseum. I'm gonna have to do waves of a Coliseum for a short
it's still
quest.
fun.
Yeah,
it's still fun the way they did it. I haven't done ethically acquired goods, and I also haven't done the murder mystery, which I'm disappointed that I don't get to talk about. But I think because I was so excited about the murder mystery that I'm gonna make it my Cape quest.
Ooh, it is
on my
it's
GIM.
very good.
So I'm quite excited to do that. Quite excited to do the murder mystery. I haven't done this is all done on the GIM, by the way. The Iron has not, or the main has not stepped foot in Varlamore in months. I have not done the Varlamore thieving because I've heard it was only 60K an hour. I ain't got time for that. So I have been skilling in mainland Gielinor.
Yeah.
For a while.
I think it would have been a lot different if you weren't trying to max by bingo. Like if your plan had still just been max by the end of the year, take it kind of slow, all of us probably would have been done on your main already.
Oh, absolutely. I think if my plan was max by the end of the year, which like it kind of was for like initially, and then I was like, oh, we can do it by Runefest, that would be sick. And then it became do it by bingo, and now at this point I just want to get it out of the damn way. Because I think, like you said, the end of the year is leagues, So it would have been an even quicker end to it as is. So I'm glad we're on the track that we are now. But, getting to experience Varlamore and the Iron, where, like, I don't know what I think I was doing both Amoxolotl and Hoykodal. I was like, dude, Scythe stays winning. I'm like, not doing this boss without a Scythe is, like, this is going to be great on the main. That's pretty much what I just kept thinking.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be absolutely bitching on the main, but I can get up there and just like scythe claw, and the boss is dead,
You can kill the Amoxolotl in like 30 seconds, I think, with the scythe.
I've been watching the gamers get Amoxolotl PBs of like 31, 32, 33 seconds, so that'll be fun. It'll be interesting. And the pet's name is Moxie, which I like quite a bit.
I want that pet. It's pretty cool. I want them to add a Moons of Peril pet, please.
Like, that's me. I'm Moxie.
Yeah.
I kind of need that pet. That pet is my namesake at this point. I kind of need that pet. I need Moxie and Oxie, exactly. I need the Moxie pet. So I'll probably spend way too much money on scythe charges when the time comes on the main to get that pet. But that's probably a 2025 goal, which that's gonna be a fun episode, dude. 2025 goals.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be an absolute banger of an episode. But alas,
they added the bosses to the high scores on Runelight. I'm at 40 Amoxolotl KC.
Oh damn! Hold on, wait. Let me look myself up. Damn,
got some empty spots
I got so many blank spots now. I got 4 blank spots on the high scores.
Bro.
Amoxolotl, Hoykodal, Sol Herodit, and of course Calvarion.
That's hilarious.
All my homies hate Calvarion.
It's not that bad. Of the 3 mini bosses, it's the easiest and the best.
Honest to God, I can't even tell you why I don't like Calvarion. I genuinely can't tell you why I don't want
zero damage. Zero damage.
I have genuinely no reason. I don't dislike Calvarion's exactly the same as Vedion. I don't dislike Vedion. I'm not being like, oh my god, Calvarion's a bad boss. I'm not gonna do it.
Is it for the memes?
I just think it's funny to have more Infernal Capes than I do Calvarion, Casey. And that is a me thing.
Yeah.
You
do you, boo-boo.
So that's, I don't know.
You do you, boo boo.
Moons of Peril is fine without a pet, but change it up and give us a scroll to change our thralls into mini versions of the bosses. That would be fun. That would be fun. That would be a really fun way to integrate that together. But dude, I can't wait, man. Varlamore. Now we're talking about quests. Now bringing up thralls. Varlamore Part 3 is going to have the AKD sequel.
Is it?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100%. Varlamore Part 3 kind of has to have the AKD sequel, no?
Not technically. Because they could do like a quest release off schedule of like a major content release. Like you don't need a whole new area of a continent to have a quest. But you're right, it most likely will.
Listen, I have been, as we all know, very wrong before about my thoughts about the damn AKD follow-up, right? We have been very wrong before. However, I think there's a really interesting path they could take where, these Twilight emissaries are also in it to take down Varlamore and other parts of the continent so that people don't stand in their way, and they figured this would be a good distraction. So they took whatever knife or whatever. All we need to see is like, so and so you've been marked for death somewhere.
Oh yeah.
In Varlamore Part 3,
Yeah.
and then we could be like, oh shit, no, that's the same people.
I know that guy.
Right?
Hey, that's it.
Like that's what we need right there.
Yeah.
AKG sequel was after Part 3, brother. How in the world are we still? What do you mean it's after Part 3? Dog. Does that tell us we surely don't wrap up the Twilight emissaries then, right? Or do we wrap up Twilight emissaries? Who knows?
I'm fine if they
don't
don't wrap everything up within a 6 month to a year span. Like this could go on a couple
AKD came out 4 years ago.
Varlamore. I'm talking about Varlamore. Like they just gave us the start of this whole story in March. If it were to be finished off within a year, I would be okay with it, but I'm also okay with them taking their time to let the story evolve.
Again, as I have repeated a million times on this show, taking time is not the bad thing. I get that. Taking time is not the bad. You know me, I love writing my stories. Taking time is not the bad thing. But goddamn, please. It's been so long. It's been 84 years.
84 years.
Since we've had sequels to these quests. I think it might be time to get the AKD sequel. But apparently if it's coming after Varlamore Part 3, I don't know, man. I hope, because now, like from a story beat perspective, now we need Part 3 to even speculate on what could happen, because just wildly speculating, much to Tiki's chagrin for a minute here, we either the Twilight emissaries are not going to be dealt with at the end of Part 3, or they're randomly going to introduce a new bad guy at the end of Part 3, which I think will feel a little shoehorned,
Yeah.
Like, where was this bad guy throughout the rest of the thing? Unless it's some big reveal like Itzla's actually the bad guy the entire time. Like, unless it's something like that, I feel like the Twilight emissaries aren't going to be dealt with by the end of Part 3 if AKD's sequel is coming after Part 3, because we have no rhyme or reason to suspect who would be involved, right? I think there are a lot of fun potential ideas also within mainland Zaya of people who could be involved. I know we said when the quest first came out, it's probably the queen, the Hosidious wife or whatever, because she was so chill about her husband dying.
She wanted to rule through her son. Yeah.
Could be involved. I think that, there's a lot of really fun Game of Thrones routes you could take with it. And I think here's a question. Is it more interesting if the Twilight emissaries are wrapped up? If it's like, oh yeah, it's the Twilight emissaries, and you're like, they're all dead. It's not.
It's not.
It was never them to begin with, and then you go on like a whole new path. So I don't know. I feel like there's fun ways they could take with it. I'm just impatient, and I want another quest that isn't the damn Majra storyline.
Be patient.
No, Don't have this conversation with me. I swear to God, we have this conversation every time we talk about quests, Michael. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it again.
I'll keep my mouth shut. I guess like quickfire, the worm boss agility course is really good. I like it. No notes, perfect. Best in slot agility outfit, cheeked up, get it. No notes,
Abbed up.
no
I'll take the
cheeked
shit
up.
out of that.
Have you seen the cheeks? Have you seen the cheeks when you're walking?
I have heard there is a bit of a dump truck on the new
Dumpy,
graceful outfit.
so dumpy, bro.
I need a tow truck to move that thing, dude. That's crazy.
I'm halfway to unlocking it, which is crazy because I've only done 74 laps. I think you need like 600 or 700 of the termites, and I've only done 74 laps. Like without a doubt, it's kind of slow XP right now. So I'm hoping that they kind of balance it for the expert course. But this will probably be what I do to get to 90 agility. I don't know if for me right now, having the crystal shards from the Prif course is going to be more useful, or having all of the bone shards that you get so that I can get prayer. I don't know. I still have to think about it. I still have to see what the rates are. But like I've already done the mining
Crystal shards
to get the
crystal
bone
shards aren't going to matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Crystal shards aren't going to matter because by the time you need them, you'll already be doing a shit ton of corrupted gauntlet as it is.
Exactly. So I mean, there is a small bit of upkeep with like having the crystal armor charged and crystal tools, but I could just go do a bit of thieving. I feel, I don't know. But yeah, the worm course is good. There are a lot of parts where I am surprised how far you go with one click, and surprised in a good way. It's not click intensive at all with how this course runs. I've been doing it the entire time we're recording, and I've maintained probably like what it says like 32K an hour, which is kind of low for having it be like a tier 60 course, but it's not hard. It's not hard at all. It's not click intensive at all. And you don't have to pick anything up. Thank the Lord. It just spawns in your inventory. Like I could just vibing the whole time. So Worm Course is really good. I like it a lot. I think that was the only other piece of content that we didn't get to. The quests are top tier. I did all 4 and I loved all 4. Maybe next week I'll try and think about, once Oxie has done them and we can talk about them freely, I'll have like a 1 through 4 of ranking which one I like the most. But as far as right now, all of them were good, no notes.
Yeah, they've added a bunch of new music too.
I need to go listen.
New tracks.
I don't play with the music on.
New tracks all over Varlamore. Like they added a new track to Civitas Illifortis.
Like existing areas.
That's existing cool. Areas. They added a bunch of new music too, which I think is super cool.
Nice.
Yeah, because I think like they did that with Prif. For like once you unlock Prif, you get like 8 music tracks, and depending on where you are in Prif, they cycle through.
Ooh.
So you'll just cycle through different tracks while standing in Prif. And I'm glad they're doing that for Varlamore as well, because that's just neat, you know?
Tiki has said twice that the costume needle is nice. And I just wanted to point that out because he wanted us to know.
Cool. I
think it's the one where you
fact,
you just need the needle.
Cannot be used to make clothes pouch for forestry bag.
Unfun. Oh.
It's not a very fun fact at all, brother.
I guess with the needle, you don't need thread, right? Is it you just need the needle?
I guess.
Sweet.
I don't know. This is what, again, I'm looking at it from main brain going, the only needle I need does not come from that. So hopefully we get that bitch sooner than later. But alas, how do you feel about Varlamore? End of the day, good update?
Amazing update. I want to stress that yes, sometimes it's very easy to focus on the negative, and we did harp on some stuff here, but like overall, I want to top it off. I want to cap this off with Varlamore Part 2 did not disappoint. The expansion continues, and I am looking forward heavily to part 3 and having all of this be kind of rounded out with
Yeah.
the content being fully unlocked.
Exactly. And I will say this, as far as drop tables are concerned, to give credit where credit is due, the J mods will learn from this experience.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If I were a betting man, by the time this Enrage boss comes out, right? By the time Varlamore Part 3 brings the Enrage boss and it brings Big Sandy,
Big Sandy.
Big Sandy,
Big Sandy.
and all of the other things that are going to come with it, any surprises, I would bet that Part 3 is not so maliciously undertuned because of the experience from Varlamore Part 2. So I think we're going to get a happy medium that is, it's going to need some adjusting. Obviously, everything needs adjusting post launch, but I don't think it's going to be like OG Zulrah drop table good. I don't think it's going to be day one Huaycodal drop table bad. So yeah, just again, consider what a good drop table looks like. And then part 3 is going to be pretty bitchin'.
Love it.
All right, Michael, you ready to send these people off?
Let's do it.
All right, folks. You heard the intro music and you know what that means. For the first time in a very long time, please enjoy this brand new commercial. See you guys very soon. Oh, where am I? Oh, I forgot something. My purpose. My name. Vardorvis, Carnifex Maximus, tasked with pursuing Yonrith Lovacane. Oh, what happened? Why do I feel different? Oh. The dwarves. They must have captured me after the attack. Oh, it hurts! My purpose. My name. Vardorvis. Carnifex Maximus. Tasked with pursuing... You bastards. I know you want the horn. I'll never tell you its location. No. You don't want the horn. You want everything. Get out of my head.
Forget everything you once were. We exist together now.
Vardorvis. Carnifex. Maximus. My lord. Please. By the blood of the Empire and the will of Soros, you will not control me.
We already do.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that spooky commercial because I know that I sure did. We are back, folks. It's time for the second half of the episode. Michael told me we are on a time crunch, so we're going to keep it schmoving. It is Patreon time. No time to dilly. Definitely no time to dally. So, on screen now are the wise old men. These are the folks who support us every single month for access to our recording booth chat, and they do all sorts of cool stuff like correct us when we're wrong, because we're wrong a lot during the episode. That's probably one of the best perks of the wise old man tier. You get to listen to the show live, and you get to tell Michael and Oxie that we're wrong, which is a pretty fun hobby, if I do say so myself. So go check out the wise old man tier of our Patreon. We'll get to that here in a minute. No need to rush ourselves. We are, however, going to shout out by name our King Black Dragon patrons. These are the folks who support us at our highest tier every single month, and they are rewarded by having their name said out loud, which again, as we talked about with the Boon Babe podcast, if you really analyze it, I could break down how our Patreon is a little underwhelming at times, but these people don't care, and that warms my heart because they're like, we don't care, we just like you. And that's awesome. So, without further ado, huge shout out to. Hey, so remember how I said the Wise Old Man's here was done? I lied because I didn't do the one thing I was supposed to do, and that was shout out our new Wise Old Man. I literally pulled it up and said, yeah, I'm not going to forget about that, and then did my little ramble and forgot about it because that's just the way I am. But because this is on the screen still, and I never actually took it off the screen, editing Oxie, remember that one? Shout out to you, Mr. Curtains, for subscribing just after we finished recording the last episode a couple weeks ago. So welcome to the Wise Old Man's here. Mr. Curtains has been hanging out with us today, giving input. Definitely not crying that I forgot about him in the chat. He's gonna be all better now. Mima and Tiki are consoling him. He's gonna be okay. But yeah, that's the Wise Old Man's here. Now it's time to shout out the King Black Dragon tier that I definitely didn't already start doing and then cut out of the episode to shout out Mr. Curtains because I'm an idiot. But we're going to do it for the first time for real. So without further ado, shouting out our King Black Dragon tiers, we would like to acknowledge Apathy, Boston, Brian M., Brooke 70, Chaos Cleric, who's finally back, by the way.
He's back.
My dad. Hi, Dad. Cloud Kicker, Damon S., Dicky Bird, Elite Oreo Dunker, Mike Oxswole, Oxie's Demonic Under the Table Bingo Support 666 Winky Face. Ayo. If I ain't getting, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Never mind. Our third favorite supporter, Ralph, Run Metal 15, Rylithium, Soggy Waffles, Seppi J, Sparky Life, The Big G Jordy, and Warbatronic. Thank you all so much for your support at the King Black Dragon tier. I'm fairly certain I left the bit in where I talked about how, if we really want to look at our Patreon, it can be underwhelming. And these guys don't care. You guys you're here for the support, and we really do love you for it. And if you want to support us at any tier, definitely not the highest tier if you don't want to. I'm not going to make you do that. I'm not your mom, like I always say. Hell, you can follow our Patreon for free. You can head over to patreon.com/Xpwaste for, and you can support for as little as nothing a month. You can support for free by following, or you can start doing financial support at $1, but that's totally optional. In the vein of moving things along, I'm going to stop fumbling over our self-promotion. I'm going to toss it over to Michael for the return of the community question. It's been like 5 weeks without a community question.
It really has.
And I think it's time that we bring that bitch back.
And we're back. We're back with the community question. It's good to be back. Welcome back, community question. Last time that we recorded, we asked you guys, hey, what's your favorite thing about the Summer Summit? Because we're on a positivity train. We want to know, what was your favorite thing that they talked about, and what was your favorite thing that was going to be released? So we're going to start on Spotify. Let's see. Ron Garian says, the mobile updates by far. I spend almost all my time on mobile, and it'll be nice to have some of that elusive Runelight kill well that I've witnessed with Runelight on rare occasions. Group Dingo says, it had to be Leagues, even though I need more info on them. Leagues is always a big dopamine rush. Wow, that's facts. That's facts. Dinosaur says, without question, the Enraged boss in Varlamore Part 3 was my favorite Summer Summit topic. I played a good amount of R3 back in the day. I do remember their version of Raxor being the first ever Enraged boss added to the game, and I love the system so much. It is so insanely cool to push your limits and risk it all for the next Enraged level, where the rewards become even more lucrative. There's so much more potential for this Enraged boss in Osrs, and I am very much looking forward to it. Next up, Spotted says, as soon as half of this game hears Wilderness, their cheeks clench. It's so sad. PKers will move to a new game if you give them no content. It's going to condense PKers into certain worlds, which would literally benefit PVMers in all other worlds. I think they may have meant to say that the Rathmaw was their favorite. Well, I don't know. It's yet to be seen because they didn't say. But Rathmaw good, I guess. I don't know. Miles says, I can't wait for the mobile updates as they make it so much closer to PC quality of playing, as well as playing in my first ever leagues. Alex says, the bottle quests coming with Varlamore Part 2 are the things that are getting me the most excited. Bring it on. More riveting tales. Also super keen for leagues, though sad that my 2024 goals now need to be completed by November if I want to achieve anything. Alex, I have never resonated with anything more in my entire life. Next up, Ryan says, I'm in the this doesn't affect me and I couldn't care less boat for having voted yes to Rathmaw. If enough people liked it, I wasn't opposed to ignoring it when it came out. And finally, on Spotify, Moist Sean says, my favorite was going to be Rathmaw, but unfortunately it didn't pass the poll simply because the community has no taste in what clearly would have been a top-notch 10 out of 10 update. I guess besides Rathmaw, leaks may be fun. You listen, Rathmaw's coming, and they're going to make it better.
Which is annoying. We haven't even touched on that. That's so annoying.
It's going to be good.
Hey guys.
It's going to be good.
I understand that they're doing this, but like this doesn't feel like their decision. I don't know, man. This feels like somebody at the top is forcing them to put this in the game. It feels like they're having to go back to the drawing board with Rathmaw because they were told to, not because they're super passionate about it. I don't know, dog. Something about Rathmaw smells a little fishy to me. People in the chat kept shouting no means no, and they were getting annoyed by that. But come on, you guys. It just, I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with Rathmaw, but that's going to be for another day. Moving on to our YouTube replies for the same community question. What was your favorite thing they talked about from the Summer Summit? Lebany TNT says, leagues, 2265 total, and the plan is to max before it starts so I can play. Will be my first one, and I can't wait to make videos on it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hopefully you can max. It's only 12 more levels. You got this. And hopefully they're not runecrafting levels. Bram says, as a PKer, solo and in clan, Rathmaw was a good proposal. Sad that it didn't pass. The excuse, like it's a time zone and clan will lock Rathmaw, are just excuses. I'm pretty sure the real reason everyone voted no is just to meme like all the Redditors and frick over the PKers. I propose the purpose of Rathmaw was to give the PKers something as well. Capybara in a human suit, as the name of this person on YouTube. Capybara in a human suit says, by far, the quests and the Varlamore expansion. Well, Capybara in human suit, I hope you enjoyed the quests and the Varlamore expansion because it came out last week.
We need a Capybara Pet in Part 3 so bad.
It needs to literally be like a Gertrude's cat level quest, but we just get a pet capybara afterwards.
Oh yeah.
And we could transmog it like all the other capybaras.
Give us
like with the orange on its head and with the grapes on its feet. We need all of them.
It could be like the Hunter Guild like transmog for if you get the Quetzal or whatever it is. The birdie bird, you could transmog it into a capybara. But some sort of capybara pet would be amazing. Please, Jagex, please. Byleron says, leagues, 10,000%. I'm already lost in the sauce on planning and pre-hyping for the Raging Echoes. There's basically no information to go on, so I'm still spending hours talking and discussing leagues in the official Discord. They're going to have to give us something soon, hopefully. I mean, it's only October, but we need something. Trip feed us some sort of like teasers. I'm eager. Soggy Waffle says, I know it was a small announcement, but the fire/ice giant boss were a cool little surprise that I wasn't expecting. A little bummed that they aren't in their own separate boss instances. Was really hoping an Ice Giant boss would be free to play, but I'm excited to see what they come up with mechanics in the area we fight them in. Swisha says definitely the HD and API changes that they were talking about. Mobile is going to be made so much nicer, and I'll bet they'll be able to get something going, something good going for the year. Plus, that they have to work on HD client and the plugins. The game jams were cool. Don't remember too much of what was discussed, but I've always thought the game jams they run come up with great ideas and concepts. And finally, for our community question replies, Spencer says probably leagues. Some stuff in Varlamore Part 3 also sounds interesting. Very cool. Thank you guys so much for answering that community question. I'm going to answer this week's question. It is going to be, if you had a chance to try out any of the Varlamore Part 2 stuff, what has been your favorite? Let us know in the comments on Spotify or the comment section under the pinned comment of this YouTube video. I'm going to throw it back over to our other lovely co-host Oxie for achievement of the week.
Hell yeah. We're making great time on this speed run, by the way. We're saving ticks left and right. But yeah, it is achievement of the week time, folks. We are going to name off the folks who have done some awesome shit these past couple of weeks, and we're not even gonna hold back, you guys. So kicking us off in the skilling category this week, Fizzman15 achieved 99 farming, Iron Kai achieved 99 agility, Doombar achieved 99 woodcutting, Daddy Knox achieved 99 mining. Big Fig BC also achieved 99 mining, but he needs some help because that was his first 99. Yikes. Y'all know how I feel about that as your first 99, man. I'm just saying. Dahunk Sky or Dahunkski, still not sure, achieved 99 strength. Lido achieved 99 fletching. The Grand Ape achieved 99 mining. Seymour achieved 99 cooking. SF Serenade achieved 99 strength. Low achieved 99 attack, strength, and defense, all in raids, I'm pretty sure. Group Dingo achieved 99 defense at Huaycodal. W Laser Walaser Shootaloo achieved 99 fletching and 99 herbivore this week. Brook 70 achieved 99 strength. OG Scuba achieved 99 strength at Huaycodal and not Mole. Suck it. Soggy Waffles achieved 99 hit points, and Danish Deity achieved 99 range. As far as total levels are concerned this week, the Grand Ape achieved 2k total level, as did Vacant Void and Neetsies, which we can shout it out again next week, but just so I don't forget, right? Vacant Void is also like re-upped their subscription to the Wise Old Man tier for the first time, but because it re-upped, it didn't notify us. So that's a fun thing that we need to look into Patreon, because you said, oh, if you re-up to Wise Old Man and you upgrade for the first time, we'll shout you out. I don't think we've ever done that. So that's a little like bonus shout out for Vacant Void. So yeah, we got to look into that, but we'll probably shout that out again next week when it's the more appropriate time. But again, continuing on with achievement of the week, Neetsies achieved 2k total level, Infamous Boy achieved 2200 total level, and Synergy Os achieved 2277 total level on both OSRS and RS3. I think it's the same account that they've been using since they were a kid, so it's been a long time coming, but I would assume you got the max cape on OSRS recently and not RS3 recently, but who knows? I could be mistaken. Either way, big GZ. In the miscellaneous tier this week, we have 4 quest capes: Mr. Ligma, Monkey Bonana, The Grand Ape, and SF Serenade, the final 2 of which, with their double this week, all got their quest capes. Additionally, Seymour, Blastoise level 99, and Doom 83, our resident super PKer, all got their music capes this week. We're getting into the combat section, and I just gotta say it. Two to Fly, the famous dude, and I'm Rambo's granddad all got their fire capes in these last 2 weeks. They posted them on the Levels and Achievements channel. Shaftimus P, you lucked out, big dog. I was flipping through channels this morning, and you mentioned you got your first fire cape in a different channel, Mr. Shaftimus. I'm watching you in your posts. Not really. I just happened to come across it. But nonetheless, you got your first fire cape this week. So congratulations. Additionally, as far as firsts are concerned, Chips FE and One Tick Beers killed Zulra for the first time. Egg Rangoon killed Gauntlet for the first time. And the name that's been giving me a lot of trouble, KC He Shish Kachish. KC Kachasisha 2533 killed the Corrupted Gauntlet for the first time.
You know what's funny about that? They messaged me. They said, "Hey, Michael, couldn't find Oxie on the list of people to message. I kept forgetting to clarify how to pronounce my name, so I figured I'd message you. It's a mix of my first initial and my last name, K Chish. It's the second part. It's pronounced like Chesh. By the way, love the show. Just caught up, so I missed a couple of shout outs where y'all didn't know my name. Sorry, I didn't send that one to you.
K Chesh?
K Chesh.
K Chesh. K Chesh 2533.
We
there
did
it
it.
is. We got it now, baby. But moving on, Egg Rangoon also completed the medium combat achievements. And another one who I'm like, man, I wish I'd had a little bit of clarification. Michael, check your DMs. Maybe you got one.
Looking.
But Berng.
We don't have that one yet.
BRNG, one of the Berng. You achieved the hard combat diaries. So congratulations to you. As far as kits are concerned this week, FE BTW I'm Iron achieved their Missouri kit, as did Tanto Tricks. Moving into the stuff that is like the end game stuff, I suppose, as it were, Zepsky, after several attempts, got his quiver. Congratulations. And Mima finally stopped milking, and he got Blood Torva. Mima is now a Blorva man, a Blorva enjoyer. I've seen a couple other folks going for Blorva as well in the levels and achievements and in the PB submissions channel. I like when I see it in PB submissions because, like, randomly, and I'm sure we'll shout him out here in a couple weeks for it. Shinkiro, one of my old bingo teammates, this morning or last night randomly posted an Awakened Duke PB. I was like, oh shit! All right, he's on that grind now too. Okay, let's go.
But definitely not Jack of Clubs. He's not doing it, right?
First of all, Jack and Clubs is not doing it because he ain't got the orbs on his Iron Man. But when he does, he won't. Just saying. When the day comes where Jack gets Blood Torva, he won't do it.
He won't have it.
But Mima, we got to know, how many orbs did it take, good sir? How many orbs did it take to achieve Blood Torva? 150-ish? That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. I got to watch Awakened Leviathan for the first time, almost all the way through. Yikes.
Insane.
I didn't know there was a tornado. I don't know how you're supposed to learn that, boss. But whatever. It's cool. We'll get there one day. But that's Achievement of the Week, folks. If you did something awesome, head over to our Discord, discord.gg/OSRSTNL, and post about your kick-ass achievement in our Levels and Achievements channel. Mr. Shaftmus P, post it in there so we can properly give you the praise you deserve, sir. The reason I say that is because I don't usually check other channels for achievements. I mainly just look at levels and achievements. And like we say every week, any achievement is always welcome in levels and achievements. Whether it's Blood Torva that gets hit with the Parsec emote because that shit's pretty funny, or if it's base 60s, base 70s, base 80s, we really don't care. We like seeing the cool shit that you guys do in the game. So head over to our Discord and post about it in there. As always, as is Sunday tradition, there are folks raiding in the VC. It's, Death, Taxes, and the Sunday Raiders. They're there. But folks, that wraps up Achievement of the Week. We only have a few seconds left to pin down this speedrun time for sure. So I'm going to send it over to Michael, and I'm going to hit him with the classic. Michael, my friend, do you have a fun question for us this week?
I do. And this one comes
Yahtzee.
from Travluck421, who actually emailed us on August 26th. So it has been quite a few days, almost a month since they emailed us, but we haven't had your normal standard show, and we've had a bit of backlog actually from the fun questions. But they said, Hey, just wanted to share a fun question, and here it is. Fun question. What would an in-game lottery look like? Would it help or hurt? And their example is something like 100 KGP per ticket for a Tebow drawing. My first thought is, if you're just answering the question, what would an in-game lottery look like? I think just purely like take off the real world trading aspect, take off like, pay to win, take all of that off the table. I think it would actually be kind of fun. If you had to spare like 10 mil and there's like a 1 in 30,000 chance that you could get a Tebow for 10 mil or whatever it is, I would do it. It would be a massive gold sink for the game, which is always good, helps keep the economy balanced. But you can't ignore the elephant in the room, which would be, one, it would encourage a lot of real world trading, and I don't think it would actually help the economy. And two, it would be very pay to win, because if you're doing it legitimately, you could just dump a bunch of money into bonds and get the money legitimately through the system they have set up. So it's very like two-sided for me. I think it would be fun, but also, I don't know. It would encourage a lot of nefarious actors, bad actors from taking advantage of that system. If it was silly stuff like weekly items, oh wait, would that be fun? Would that be silly? I don't know. That's a different conversation. What are your thoughts? What would an in-game lottery look like?
When I read this email, when I read this one question, what would an in-game lottery system look like? It would look like fucking Squeal of Fortune, and I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. But I had a mild think about it while you were talking.
A mild think.
If you've played Borderlands 2, if you play Borderlands 2, in Moxie's bar in Sanctuary, there is a gun slot machine where you pay in-game money and you get a random gun out of the gun slot machine. Sometimes the guns are good, most of the time the guns are shit. But the amount of money scales based on how much money that you have, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we added a gun slot machine? Sometimes you'd get a nade. That would be pretty funny. Mima is right. Occasionally, it would go ha ha, and a grenade, like a live grenade, would pop out and it'd blow you up.
What?
So what if we add a gun slot machine, quote unquote, to the Grand Exchange, where every spin scales off your bank value, and you get mostly alchable items, but occasionally you can get like abyssal whips, or occasionally you can get like dark bows, and like the number one premier item that like, oh shit, this is like the best drop you could possibly get. Oh my god, this is crazy. I don't know. Maybe it's like you could get, I don't like what item fits there, you know?
Yeah.
Is it an item? Is it an item like the ACB? Does that fit there? You know, that's not like best in slot, but it's also not terrible. You know, like maybe there's a new reward that comes with the slot machine that we make all the collection loggers gamble.
Oh no.
We start making all the
They already
cloggers
do.
gamble.
Like
the
Lawrence
entire time.
keys.
No,
Brimstone keys.
Gamble for real. No. I don't mean like in-game shit gamble. I mean, oh my god, Fear's got it. You put a fucking pet in there.
Oh gosh.
You put a pet at a 1 in 5K drop rate, and you just have these cloggers. You ever see the video of the old people at the penny slots where it's just like beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep? You force all the cloggers to the Grand Exchange so they can spend like 180K a pop, scaled off their bank value. Meme is sweating over here. Just getting like their inventory constantly gets filled up with shit. Their inventory is constantly full of like adamant plate bodies and shit like that. It's literally, I'm just picturing Squidward with the claw machine. Like, what's this? The deed to my house.
Oh.
Like,
It would be kind
I
of
lied.
funny.
Maybe a slot machine in RuneScape
No,
would be a great
I
idea.
think a slot. I think you're
Attach
onto
a pet
something.
to that bitch. Attach a pet to that bitch. That'd be hysterical.
I think you're
Is
onto
it good
something.
for the game? No. Do I want to see it in the game? No. Would it be funny? Absolutely, it would be.
I think it would be because you were talking about in the first part of this where you're rolling for a specific item. I think it would be hilarious if you could gamble your items. You know how in the Napatsi dungeon where Moons is, like if you give the lady a piece of Moon's gear, like the big god or whatever her name is in there, she might give you a different piece or she might just take it. It'd be kind of funny if you could like gamble pieces, like if that mechanic was like elsewhere. If like you needed a specific piece of God Wars dungeon armor, there was like a different NPC in each of the dungeons or each of the boss layers where you give it a Bandos Tacit in hopes of like something else, but the odds are never in your favor. It's just if you have a bunch laying around, you may be able to get another piece. That's a more serious answer to like keep people from going super, super dry on stuff. But it would almost always have to be like never in your favor to get what you want. Like the house always wins. This is almost always going to be an item sync. Mima said, add that to the Dark Mystics. Yeah, seriously. Like if you could just like put the Dark Mystic back in the brimstone chest or whatever it is. And maybe it'll give you another piece of brimstone, or maybe you'll just lose, or another piece of mystic, or maybe you'll just lose it. And there's always a better chance that you'll lose it than getting a different one. That would be fun.
There are some fun suggestions up here. Soggy says implement a random chance to spawn the old dangerous mini games for no other reason than fuck you. That's kind of funny. Seth says double or nothing system in the GE where you roll for the item to be either free or cost double, which would absolutely lead to gambling streams coming back in full force because people would be betting billions of GP on like basically is it red or black, right?
Yeah.
Is the twisted bow free or is the twisted bow now going to cost like $4 billion in the GE, right? Like that is absolutely opening up so many avenues for gambling streams, but it would be funny.
We don't need more gambling. That's the thing.
We don't. Say nay to gambling.
Say nay.
Say nay to gambling. Well, that's a fun question. I was very worried when I read this question. I'm like, oh, cool. That's a cash shop. That's what that looks like. That's an RNG based cash shop. Nope. It's just stupid, and I like it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Travluck 421 for your fun question. If you want to ask us a fun question, there's many ways you can do so. You can email us like Travluck did, or you can send it to the fun questions section in Discord if you are a patron. You can also send us a postcard. We have many postcards behind me, which is conveniently cut out for where my head is. And if your postcard has a fun question on it, we'll read that. You can DM it to me or send it to us on one of our socials. It like those are a little more risky, right? Because I have this fun thing called ADHD where if I open a message and I don't respond or read it, I'm not going to open that again, most likely. So there's a good chance that if I don't immediately screenshot your question and put it in the fun question section, I may just forget. And I do apologize, but that's also an option as well. And we always look forward to your fun questions and answering them on the show. So send us your fun questions.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this here episode. We got into some shit, but overall, Varlamore Part 2 is good. I'm saying it again, so editing Oxie knows he has to do it. I really hope you enjoyed that new commercial. If all goes according to plan, which it should, but if all goes according to plan, you should get a new commercial every week throughout the month of October. You should, because you guys know I love my Halloween commercials, and boy howdy, we have some ideas cooking. But with that, folks, If you want to listen to more of us, or you want to consume more of us, there will be a link tree in the bio that has every link you could ever need. Come join our Discord, do all of that fun stuff. Come hang out with us. We are here literally all the time playing this game. So come hang out. Join the best RuneScape community in the world. With that, though, hope you guys are enjoying Varlamore Part 2. And we have saved a total of 15 minutes off of the speed run. So, hell yeah. All right, folks, we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.